Serious autistic people of Reddit. What do you wish more people knew about autism? Something I wish my teachers knew. When I was growing up, me avoiding eye contact doesn't mean I did whatever they accused me of. Nor does it mean I don't feel sorry. And it's certainly not meant to be disrespectful. It's just that I don't do well with eye contact. Also, I know my social skills aren't the best. And I do try to work on them. But not telling me when I do something wrong and thinking the mere fact you're upset with me should lead me to realize what I did wrong and how to do it better instead of just telling me isn't fucking helping. I've accidentally made my boss really insecure of his hands because I tend to watch hands instead of eye contact, haha. He stops waving them around and puts them behind his back and is like, wait, no, stop looking, it's my sleeves, isn't it? Every case is different. You can't just assume it's the same with every person. It feels like everyone thinks people like us are just all socially awkward. But it can be a lot more than that. For example, I have quite mild Asperger's syndrome, and to most people I seem like everyone else. But I've met people with more severe cases that can't even speak and need constant help. Never assume every person with autism is the same. I wish people knew how much different autism is on girls. Researches on this topic are just beginning to be made. I'm not from the US, and in my country there isn't any research being done nor available in our language. So far I've only found resources in English, so there is a lot of misinformation even between psychologists and other professionals. Just because I can act normal a lot of the time does not mean that my autism doesn't affect me. The majority of my time spent with others is literally an act. And it's extremely mentally exhausting and emotionally draining to the point that I have frequent meltdowns when I'm finally alone and able to be myself again. This world wasn't made for me or people like me. When I work in customer service, my bosses think I'm the perfect employee. I'm genuinely nice, always doing my best, a quick worker. They don't realize I had multiple panic attacks before work and that when I get off I'm so drained I go home and cry. It's so hard to keep up the act of being a normal human to the point that I don't know how much longer I can do this. You are in the wrong type of job. There can never be peace for you in a customer facing position. In my opinion, I burned out after 20 years of its support. I'm trying to find work that can deal with autism. So far no luck, nor do I even have a clue what to look for. Only idea I have is learning to code as a newbie 50-year-old coder. I wish more people understood how terrified I, and possibly others, are that it will bar us from jobs, opportunities and relationships, a normal life, because other people see us as lesser, as difficult / not worth managing or as broken. I feel like things are often harder, just because people view me that way, it perpetuates itself. I worry when I tell people I'm autistic on a date, that they are gonna bounce, because they then think they are doing the equivalent to dating a toddler. We recently realized that my husband is on the spectrum somewhere. We have not gotten an office diagnosis, but instead of making me feel like he was less, it was like shining a light on all his issues and suddenly everything clicked into place. I love him and understand where he is coming from so much better now. I wish we had realized before now. We have 2 kids, and he is the most amazing dad. Having autism doesn't make you childlike, it makes you different. If everyone was the same, the world would be boring. I hope you find someone who loves you for all of who you are. Edit. Wow. This blew up. I will try to respond to everyone as soon as possible. It is quite late here, and I'm nodding off. We don't look autistic, and telling us that is not a compliment. Facts. Can't even count how many times I've heard this. A lot of people with autism show no outward signs of it. One of your friends, coworkers, etc. could be autistic, and you'd never notice anything strange about them. Maybe they're a bit shy or awkward in certain settings, in my case group conversations, but nothing major. For those people, autism isn't necessarily a disability. As such, there would be no reason to treat them any differently than others, even when you do find out they are on the spectrum. As a general rule of thumb, don't assume anything about an autistic person. Find out what they are like and respond appropriately. Don't assume they have the same strengths/struggles as your autistic nephew or an autistic celebrity or whatever. In a professional setting I'm excellent. I can do group meetings, talk with the VP like I can with a coworker, do projects, get shit done on time. Excellent. Professionalism is my best mask. However, with anything personal, complete shutdown. Thoughts like, oh god, what the fuck do I say? I have no idea how to answer people. I know what they want. I'm very good at inferring and reading people, but it always feels like answering them. To give them a response they will always like is disingenuous. At the same time, I don't want to be rude, especially if I just met the person. Even if they don't know I'm just answering with what they're looking for, it still feels rude to me. So basically, I answer like a fucking calculator. I know what they want, so I answer accordingly. I can't answer from the heart. I just can't do it. It feels, somehow, physically wrong and unbearably embarrassing. I know it gets better with practice, but even that is hard. All my responses are learned, again, based on what people expect. I don't have natural reactions of my own, because my natural reaction would be to ask questions. But the usual correct response would be to make a joke or have a comment of your own or something. Normally I don't say anything unless I have something to say, and I rarely ever do. It's a very concentrated effort to come up with and execute banter at the same time. Socializing is so difficult and draining. There is not a moment I can relax, or I'll just act weird again. To bring it full circle though, I don't show outward signs besides being quiet and weird. But to not appear like that requires supreme effort. We have feelings. We have empathy. Backquote, you don't look autistic is not a compliment. Telling us backquote everyone is a little autistic doesn't help. Oh my god, thank you. I've been trying to express this, and I didn't know how to put it into words. Laughing at me when I'm expressing happiness instantly makes me unhappy. It's kind of hard depending where an autistic person is on the spectrum. So for example, if you encounter an autistic person that has problems with socializing, don't consider them as this antisocial person who wants to be left alone, because they probably might want people to hang out with. They're just too shy when it comes to asking, or at least, that's what happened to me. Same here. I feel like I'm being creepy when I talk to people. Even commenting this is very awkward for me to do. How did you all find out you have autism? A lot of these random phobias and quirks being described here are things I experience, and I'm kind of a loner, but also can on the flip side be outgoing/talkative and funny when in certain scenarios, when I'm with friends and comfortable, and I feel like I'm really good at reading people's emotions and minor indicators in conversations. But I also have generalized anxiety disorder, very minor OCD, and am introverted. 99% of representations are absolute bullshit. If you really want to know how to deal with an autistic person, ask the autistic person. It's so easy. And preferably ask 50 of us, because the symptoms can wildly differ from a person to another. 2. I once heard, if you've met one autistic person, then you met one autistic person. I think that summarizes that perfectly. None of us are the same. That's what makes it a spectrum. It is genetic, not vaccination based. It's so disgusting for anti-vaxxers to act like autism is worse than dying by polio. Autism Speaks are the Peter of autism, and they spread a lot of lies about autism because those lies create fear, and that fear earns them money. Edit. Wow, my first gold. Thank you. Thanks for all the awards. Also my favorite video explaining why Autism Speaks sucks. https://m youtube.com/watch v equals EZ936R2F35U and T equals 185S. Autism Speaks should be forced to rename itself We Speak Over Autistic People. We are not emotionless drones. If anything, we feel more emotion than the average person. Depending on the person, that will be shown more or less. Autism is a spectrum disorder and can be different for everyone. I'm fine with the internet generalizing this. I do it often too. Some people might not be fine with it, and that's okay. Acceptance is what we really want. Autistics don't have to redeem themselves. They don't have to be savants with incredible IQ or masters of a certain skill. They are worthy of respect regardless. I do not need to be spoken to like I'm 5 years old. That we aren't monsters. They blamed the Sandy Hook shooting on the fact Adam Lanza had autism and just went with it. I've never had tendencies to shoot up a school. Also the anti-vaxxers. You risk the life of your child for the fact that you think it causes autism. There's so much people don't understand, and people are quick to judge things they know nothing about. I served 3 years in the US Army and do very well on my own. I work and have a family and I, much like others with Asperger's/autism, have similar stories. We aren't evil. I may have just lost my faith in humanity. I never knew that the Sandy Hook was at one point blamed on autism, and I'm disgusted at how blunt and idiotic that is.